Good evening and welcome to Simple Truth. We are glad to have you tonight. Tonight we continue part 4 of our interview with Kid Sanchez. Kid has been sharing from her heart what God has done in her life, from the gay lifestyle to the Christ-like lifestyle. So pay attention, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Simple Truth. Kid, how are you?
Good, Pastor. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Guys, this is Kid Sanchez. She's been with us for 3 of our programs already, and she has blessed our socks off. How have you felt being on the program?
It's been great. I was super nervous in the beginning, but just to have the chance to talk, not about me, but about the things that God can do in us when we allow Him to has definitely been a blessing.
Absolutely. Now, remember, we all go to Jubilo Church in the city of Orlando. We're at 8818 Commodity Circle, Orlando, Florida, 32810. If you want to know Kid personally, if you want to invite her to speak to your youth group, your congregation, whichever type of event you may be having, she's open to it. Of course, she's being a little bit pushed into it. You know, God is slowly speaking to her and preparing her for what God has done in her life and to take the testimony wherever she can take it. Kid, last time we were together, we were just about in your high school age. You had graduated high school. You talked about your conflict, what you were living during those days. Take us back to that. Take us back to your senior year. Remind us how you were feeling, the conflicts you were living, and sort of like relate it to the young people that may be watching tonight and may be living what you've been living and were living for so long.
Yeah, so high school years as any teenager, you know, they're always tough. You're trying to find yourself, you're trying to find who you are. And that was definitely part of me. And trying to figure out my sexuality and trying to understand, because I knew I liked girls from a young age, right? But then you get older and you're like, this is not the usual thing, and trying to come to terms with that, along with coming to terms, right, with the rest of my personality and who I was. And I couldn't make heads or tail or any of it, you know. So it was a hard time. It was like walking in the dark, not knowing.
Now, Kid, during that whole time, and we're going to be seeing a couple of pictures of her during that time in her life, and a couple of pictures after that time. So you had absolutely no attraction to guys at all?
No, never.
Really?
Never.
So tell us about that. I mean, I don't know what it would be not to be attracted to a woman or a lady, and in this case, of course, my wife. What is it for you to be attracted to your own sex? I mean, what was going through your mind? Take us a little deeper. What was going through your mind? Did you feel that this was normal? Did you have a constant struggle? That guys hit on you? Because that's a term that's used out there on the street today. That guys hit on you. How do you react to that? Talk to us about that time.
I was just very certain of it because, like I said, I had never been attracted to a guy ever. I couldn't explain why. I could see a woman and I'd feel attracted, feel like I wanted to talk to her, get to know her, be intimate, but never with a guy. Never once felt that in my entire life. So with guys, not so much, because I cut off my hair. I started dressing more masculine, so I didn't really have much of that issue. But yeah, I just found women to be just gorgeous and just something about it.
Now tell us, Kid, I know when it comes to same-sex relationships with women, sometimes one of the two, not all the time, it's not the rule, you know that.
Right.
But sometimes one of the two takes a strong lead.
Right.
They're more masculine than the other.
Right.
Tell me how that evolves. How does that work out?
Well, you know, in my case, me being, you know, the more masculine, you know, back then the term was butch. Nowadays they use more the term stud for that type of. It was just natural for me. I was attracted to women that were very feminine looking, long hair, that dressed feminine. That was what I was attracted to. And it's just like with dating, you get to know somebody and they understand the dynamics, that you're more of the lead role, the head, if you will, right? And so that's just the dynamics kind of work themselves out in those relationships.
Sure. Okay. And of course you had a couple of relationships. I guess you were the lead role.
Right.
Now you're very feminine. Your mom is very feminine. Your grandma is very feminine. Your brothers are very masculine. So how did that seep into you? We know spiritually that it seeps into your spirit. We know that there's a combination of physical things, emotional, mental, environment, issues, and we also know that there's spirits that come against a person, especially if they're involved in this type of lifestyle. We're going to continue. We're going to answer that question in just a moment. Guys, this is part 4 of Kit Sanchez's testimony. We're going to come back and we're going to get the answer to that story just after these moments. Welcome back. We continue with Kit. Kit, so tell us about that time in your life where you were attracted to women, where you went from feminine to being a little bit masculine. What do you think the influence was? I mean, how did you become that person? How do you progress into that person?
Well, to me, in my term, like we were speaking about last time, it wasn't just a sexual problem, sexual preference, but it was always a gender issue as well, where I was having a really hard time. And that, again, came from my childhood. You know, I wanted to hang out with my brothers. I wanted to be like them. My mother had to chase me around to get me to put on shirt because my brothers were shirtless, so I wanted to do the same. And so it was, I just identified more seeing feminine and masculine in my family, seeing those roles. I identified more with the masculine role models in my family and wanted to go more towards that than the feminine side. And
Okay, so
from a young age.
you made a very interesting point there. You spoke about gender issues. Today, gender issues are all over the television. They're all over the newspapers. They're all over the news. Television programs. They're in movies.
Everywhere.
Hollywood's movies. They're everywhere. So be a little specific as far as the gender issue is concerned, because and of course this is obvious to a lot of people, but I really want to get into this issue. There are some women that are lesbians that get into the gender issue. Others don't.
Right.
So you could be a lesbian that likes another woman, but then there's a lesbian that has a gender situation. So tell us when you went into that. You told us about your brothers, that you related more to them than to other women. But how did that evolve in you slowly? I mean, tell us what that was like. It must not have been easy at all.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of the times when they talk about gender and sexual preference, they speak of it in two different. Two separate subjects, because you have people that are, you know, they can be gay, straight, bisexual, and have these type of gender problems. But yeah, I didn't feel like a girl. Like, you know, what you hear a lot is people saying, I felt like I was born in the wrong body. And so that's what it was like to me.
At a point in your life?
Yes.
How old were you?
Oh, I mean, I really kind of started understanding it more probably when I was like about 18 or so.
Really?
But as a child, yeah, I had problems. Even like when they would give me dolls, I would put Ken's clothes on Barbie and stuff like that. So it was from a very, very young age,
Okay, so when you hit 18,
right,
you no longer wanted to be a woman.
Right.
If you could have, you would have done a sexual change.
I thought about it. I thought about it later on. But
tell us how serious you thought about it.
I was doing research. I was doing research on, because one of the first things you do is you go on hormones. In my case, it would have been testosterone, and then later on the surgeries. Because I was extremely, especially unhappy with the top part of my body, and I didn't want it there anymore, and I wanted to have surgery. So I thought about it a lot, but I thought about deeply if it would make me happy or not. And the more honest I was with that, I was like, this is not the answer. So I was kind of somewhere in the middle where I wasn't happy being a woman, but I knew transitioning wasn't going to make me happy either. So I was just stuck in the middle of nowhere.
So you were just unhappy.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things you did, and you told us in the second and the third program that you got involved in drugs, you got involved in alcohol, and it was sort of like self-abuse, right?
In a way, yeah. It was that and trying to numb myself as well.
Your feelings.
Yeah, because I felt pain from somewhere. I didn't know where. I think it was from like all the inner struggle that I was going through. And I just wanted to numb it all, you know? And then I also wanted to party because you're young, you're supposed to party. And so it was like, it was both things, you know?
Now, that's the issue. If God created us, we should be beings that are happy, that are joyful. If God created us, He created us the way He wanted to create us.
Right.
The Bible says, of course, the Bible says that He created man and woman.
Right.
That there's no third gender. There's 1,000 arguments out there, but there's only 2 genders biblically, and we believe in the Bible. There's man and there's woman. It takes a man and a woman to procreate. So you really didn't want to be a guy, you really don't want to be a girl, you have that conflict, you're not happy. Did you ever ask yourself, I need God to help me?
No, I thought I could figure it out on my own, and I was worried because I didn't know what running to God would, you know,
What
would
it
it really
result in
help?
doing?
Yeah, I didn't know what the results were going to be,
Okay.
and you know, you hear, you know, and like I said, I've experienced.
Sure.
You know, so to me, it was just like, no, I got to get this figured out on my own.
Okay, all right. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, next week we're going to continue with Kit Sanchez. It's going to be part 5 and the final portion of her testimony, where she tells us exactly where she was in her life when she found God. Because she found God, and God moved in her life in a great way, and we have who Kit is today. So God bless you guys. Be with us again next Thursday, 8 o'clock, right here.